This is going to be a broad-stroked overview of alchemy and Hermetic dynamism or dynamics in the archetypes of the tarot. You can consider this an addendum, if you like, to my Eyes Wide Shut documentary, just to go further into symbolic relationships. But if you've not seen either that movie or my documentary, don't worry. I won't be discussing either other than a mention or two here or there. I can tell you right now this will be somewhat scattered, but this video is intended for both seasoned tarot users and those who are new to it. So being that so many systems are compressed into it, there's a lot to cover to show resonance between each. And we can do that fairly easily, since all things involving symbolic language or hermetics require reading multiple meanings into it at once. And that's what we're going to do. I will be naming the alchemical operations, but not explaining the process of each, since that would make this several hours long, and there are others who've explained it beautifully, wonderfully, already on YouTube, and I would also recommend, I should say right now, looking into this yourself if you know nothing about alchemy, which is all based entirely on Hermetic philosophy. Look up some of the old classical alchemical treatises from medieval times and the Renaissance. But keep in mind that most of those authors often intentionally misled their readers with both their texts and their illustrations. They had to, because, you know, they didn't want the church to kill them. But keep in mind the alchemical processes as both a science and a philosophy. So let's dig in. More significant than anything, the foundation of the principles of alchemy are based upon Hermetic philosophy. And Hermetic philosophy is embedded in the mysterious and wonderful emerald tablet attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, or thrice greatest Hermes. Later on, we'll explore the emerald tablet's introductory rubric, which acts as kind of a summary of the entire thing. There are 7 operations in alchemy, 7 planets in most ancient astrological systems, 7 chakras, 7 rainbow colors, 7 sections of the staff or caduceus of Hermes, and in many initiatory systems, 7 gateways, as you may have seen in the Eyes Wide Shut documentary. This all translates to music, too. 7 notes in an octave, of course, with the 8th note from the octave's first being harmonious with it, the number 8 being the number of infinity. Here, then, are the 7 alchemical operations in order, listed with their planetary, elemental, and metal attributes. Calcination, associated with the sun, element of fire, and gold. Dissolution, associated with the moon, element of water, and silver. Separation, associated with Mercury, element of air, and, of course, Mercury, otherwise known to alchemists in their day as Quicksilver. Conjunction, associated with Venus and copper. Fermentation, associated with Mars and iron. Distillation, associated with Jupiter and tin. Finally, coagulation, associated with Saturn and lead. The figure pi is roughly equivalent to 22 over 7. We already understand the significance of 7, but now bear in mind that there are a total of 22 cards in the major arcana, but we're still working with the number 21, since the first card, the Fool, is numbered as 0. The second card is number 1, the third is number 2, and so on up through the 22nd card, which is number 21. So the first 3 digits of pi are 3, 1, and 4. The third card of the Tarot's Major Arcana, number 2, is the High Priestess, or simply the Priestess. Pi, in appearance, shapes a kind of gateway. It shares the shape of ancient dolmens or megalithic portal tombs, which are often used to depict the Roman numeral 2 in that card's imagery. Also sharing the shape of pi and dolmens is the Hebrew letter He, used twice in the name for God in that language, Yahweh or Yahweh. YHVH. This word is often shortened to just the single letter of He to represent the totality of God, also known as the Tetragrammaton. In a manner of speaking, pi is God. Its eternal quality is represented in the precise measurements of the Great Pyramid in Egypt. Hey is where we derive the modern exclamation of hey, like you're calling out to someone. It means behold and implies a revelation. Also inherent in this Hebrew character is the concept of taking seed. The 4 letters making up Yahweh or Yahweh or YHBH or the Tetragrammaton can be viewed as elemental family dynamics depicting the creation of the world and of new life. The first letter, Y for Yod, is the fire of the father. H for He is the water of the mother. V for Vav is the air of the son, and H for He in its second usage is the earth of the daughter, the only one of the 4 who carries the essences of all of them. This figure or symbol has an obviously feminine nature. As the priestess of the tarot, she conveys to the initiate the esoteric wisdom which cannot be spoken aloud in empirical statements, but understanding through the wisdom gained which brought you to her to begin with. No one stumbles upon the temple or gateway of the priestess, only those who sincerely seek the great mysteries, which are hers alone. We've established the resonant characteristics of the numbers 1, 3, and 7. If we add these together, we get 11, the number of magical increase, like the 2 pillars in the priestess card. And by numerological reduction, 11 becomes 2 by adding 1 plus 1. Consider Crowley's magical formula of 2 equals 0. That is, -1 plus +1 equals 0. And we have a magical sequence indeed. 1, 3, 7, 11, 2, 0. A way of summarizing this numerical sequence expressed in the priestess card would be, woman makes fools of us all. The Fibonacci sequence is also evident in the major arcana, and there are 2 ways of seeing it harmoniously here. 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. Like pi, it's infinite. But if we stop it there at 13, the first non-primary number in the sequence, and ignore the 0 since nothing is being added to the first one, we have 7 numbers. 13, the number of the death and transformation card, reduces as 1 plus 3 equals 4, and 4 is the number of the square or symbol of the lesser mysteries of alchemy. If we stop the sequence at 8 numbers rather than 7, and again ignore the 0 for the same reason, we have 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. So with number 8 being harmony and resonance and infinity, 21 is here, the 8th number, and there are 21 trumps or majors beyond 0. 21 reduces as 2 plus 1 equals 3. So in this way, 21 is equal to 3, the number of the triangle representing the greater mysteries of alchemy. Keep that in mind too when we get into the eye in the pyramid later on. Card number 1, or the second in the major arcana from 0, is the magician or magos. Thrice greatest Hermes is this figure, who knows and uses the secret of 3 in 1 and 1 in 3. Mercury is his essence. But since he's the transmitting and transmuting agent between sulfur and salt, he is, in a way, also those as well. Because we're going to have a repeating theme here of the number 3, and that's all alchemically related to sulfur, mercury, and salt. Now, with 4 worldly alchemical operations and 3 divine ones, for a total of 7, we're going to divide the 21 major arcana, excluding 0 or the Fool, of course, into 3 groups of 7. And let's take a look at those. Okay, you can look across each of the 3 rows and see all 7 operations laid out 3 times in 3 ways. And going across each, you can pause it here if you like and go across each, but remember the 7 operations. Left to right, all 3 that you see vertically: calcination, associated with sun, fire, gold; dissolution, associated with moon, water, silver; separation, associated with mercury, air, mercury, of course; conjunction, associated with Venus and copper; fermentation, associated with Mars and iron; distillation, associated with Jupiter and tin; and coagulation, associated with Saturn or lead. Now you can also look across at the top row being sulfur, second row being mercury, third row being salt, or the coagulated philosopher's stone, the result of the great work of alchemy. And the philosopher's stone is, of course, going to be seen most clearly and fully in the 22nd card of the major arcana. But we'll get there. The minor arcana reveal the 4 lesser or worldly of the 7 operations. These are spread out in their respective suits. From top to bottom: wands, chalices, swords, discs, or elementally fire, water, air, earth. As for the relevant lesser alchemical operations: calcination, dissolution, separation, conjunction. Yod, He, Vav, He. Father, mother, son, daughter. Altogether, these varying groups of 4, seen all at once in each suit, can be collectively signified by a square. The major arcana, by contrast, are signified by a triangle, and we can view in those the greater or divine operations. First row representing fermentation, second row representing distillation, third row representing coagulation. When the alchemical great work is accomplished in the triangle sitting atop the square, we have an open eye within it, being spiritual awakening, the uniting of the above and the below. So the eye in the pyramid is not an evil symbol if viewed as originally intended, not in the way the Illuminati or power elite or whatever you want to call them have transformed it into being. In fact, the famous Egyptian Eye of Horus signifies the awakened human pineal gland, or third eye, which becomes all the more obvious when you compare the double-pronged stem area of each. Jordan Maxwell, the great writer and proponent of astrotheology being at the base of all religions, and known for his work with history and occult symbolism, summarized it best, and I'll let him do that right now.
Now, in the Bible, there is a concept that the devil takes something that God has made and licks all over it. I told you that before in one of my lectures, that when I was a child, my dad used to go on Sunday mornings to the donut shop, and he would bring back a big bunch of donuts, but there would always be a couple of chocolate donuts. I'd take the chocolate donuts and lick them and put them back in the box. Why? No, serious. Because now those two donuts there, they belong to me. Nobody's going to touch them. I licked all of them. They're mine. Okay. And then I started. But when you begin to understand, that's what the Bible is saying. The devil has done. The dark side of the force. Those people who are here to do evil and to lie to us. That's what they've done. They have taken something that is beautiful, that is divinely ordained, as the march of world powers in the heavens, the kingdom of heaven is coming down on earth, the implications of the heavens dominating the earth. They have taken that and licked all over it and put their own interpretations on it now, so they're going to be in charge of the new world order. Well, we will see which one is going to be in charge of the new world order. The Nazis and the fascists are the Almighty God who has ordained this universe to come into being.
I want to give you two paragraphs from the book quoted at the beginning of this video, which will serve to encapsulate much of this. The early alchemists divided their chemicals into major and minor arcana. The major arcana consisted of 4 compounds representing the 4 elements: vitriol, or fire, natron, or earth, liquor hepatis, or water, and pulvis solaris, or air. All but the liquor hepatis consisted of dual ingredients that were easily separable. Vitriol could be broken down into sulfuric acid and iron. Natron appeared as sodium carbonate and sodium nitrate. Pulvis solaris was made up of the red and black varieties. Thus, the 7 actual chemicals comprising the minor arcana were sulfuric acid, iron oxide, sodium carbonate, sodium nitrate, liquor hepatis, black pulvis solaris, and red pulvis solaris. Esoterically, the number 56 represents the steps in time one must take when entering material reality. For example, a sacred year in which the solar and lunar cycles come together in conjunction equals 56 years. Drawing the ever-potent number 7 we had thrice in the majors, directly recalling also the essence of the name of thrice greatest Hermes. If we divide 56 by 7, we return to the source of the minor arcana, which is 8, the number of the higher manifestation of matter that the alchemists called the Philosopher's Stone. If we divide 21 by 7, we return to the source of the major arcana, which is the number 3. The Holy Trinity of heavenly forces the alchemists called sulfur, mercury, and salt. The total number of tarot cards, 78, represents the total dispersion of the archetypal forces in the physical universe and is the sum of the numbers of all the signs of the zodiac. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12 equals 78. So 56 minor cards, 22 majors, 78 total. The star card, number 17, people often interpret to mean simply hope. Consider in this card not just a star in the sky, but also what Paracelsus called Ilaster, meaning the star in man. Number 17 by numerological reduction is 1 plus 7 equals 8, the number of infinity and harmony and resonance. In this card, the star in man is eager to be born. The crimson glow of dawn is just peeking at us from the horizon. So too is Venus, the morning star. In card number 20, what is usually called judgment, that star is born. The most important and essential quality in this card is rebirth, the emergence of the human being as a now equally divine being, having purged himself of ego consciousness and not merely replaced it with, but become purified by spirit consciousness. As the High Priestess card was a view from the outside looking in, the Judgment or Rebirth card is a view from the inside looking out. And in so doing, what we experience in this emergence is the universe. Most often, this 22nd card, numbered 21, is titled The World, but we're looking now at the Thoth deck, in which the world is instead the universe, which here most beautifully captures all that's happened thus far and all that's crystallized as a result. This is the Philosopher's Stone. Where the journey ends, it begins anew. The perfected soul becomes a wise fool, thereby giving this card a resonance with the first card, number 0, the Fool. The soul is now a cosmic dancer, like unto the triple-aspected Hindu deity Shiva, who is destroyer, preserver, creator. The pupil of the eye in the Vesica Piscis is formed by, of course, the joining of two circles. Author Long Duquette has immense insight and knowledge about the Thoth deck, but I was a bit amazed to find in his book about it that he claims not to know about the presence of a particular detail in this card, one of the most important in the entire Major Arcana, which I found to be immediately apparent. He asks his readers, what is that? The detail in question is in our Cosmic Dancer's reaching hand. And I want to address that detail now and bring this whole circle to a close. Here is the completed, perfected soul, having processed itself from Saturnian lead to solar gold, who now reaches for, or with, a sickle. That's what it is. In almost all ancient systems, Saturn was the end and return of the astrological cycle. The black sickle seen here in the grip of our Cosmic Dancer to reach toward the sun is the glyph for Saturn, the planet which curves the widest arc in its longest of orbits and returns us to close the astrological circle, beginning anew with the emergence of Aries. And you can see Aries vaguely in close-up emerging from the center behind our Cosmic Dancer. All is symbolically encircled by the Ouroboros, which traces the outline of the cosmic egg. I personally like to also consider in this imagery, and specifically regarding that Saturnian sickle, the most sacred of Druid acts, the cutting of mistletoe at midwinter with a golden sickle, a magical instrument with balanced essences of the sun and moon, being that it has the color of the sun, a golden sickle, but the shape of a crescent moon. The whole journey we just had a look at is shown in Eyes Wide Shut as a warning how our divine birthright of walking the path has been subverted, like Jordan Maxwell's donuts getting licked. I'd like to remind you all that this was explored in quite another way in Stanley Kubrick's earlier film 2001: A Space Odyssey. In the original script for that film, Saturn was intended to be the destination awaiting our planetary traveler, Dave, not a moon of Jupiter. That simple alteration changed the entire meaning of what was to be at the heart of the story, the traveler going to Saturn to die and be reborn into pure cosmic consciousness. It's a journey we're all invited to take. It's why the Druids and even their remnant culture were wiped out by the church so they could wield complete power over collective human consciousness. But that's another video coming soon. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. We're going to end this with the introductory rubric of the Emerald Tablet of Hermes Trismegistus.
True it is, without falsehood, certain and most true, that that which is above is like to that which is below, and that which is below is like to that which is above, to accomplish the miracles of one thing. And as all things were by the contemplation of one, so all things arose from this one thing by a single act of adaptation. The father thereof is the sun, the mother the moon. The wind carried it in its womb. The earth is the nurse thereof. It is the father of all works of wonder throughout the whole world. The power thereof is perfect. If it be cast to earth, it will separate the element of earth from that of fire, the subtle from the gross. With great sagacity it doth descend to earth, and uniteth in itself the force from things superior and things inferior. Thus thou wilt possess the glory of the brightness of the whole world, and all obscurity will fly far from thee. This thing is the strong fortitude of all strength, for it overcometh every subtle thing, and doth penetrate every solid substance. Thus was this world created. Hence there will be marvelous adaptations achieved, of which the manner is this. And for this reason I am called Hermes Trismegistus, because I hold 3 parts of the wisdom of the whole world, and that which I had to say about the operation of Saul is completed.